like many other vinyl collectors, have quite a few soundtracks in my collection, but I don't have too many scores. I'm going to focus on two that I do have and I love, coming right up. So like I mentioned in the intro there, a whole lot of people collect a really good amount of soundtracks, like as in the pop or rock or country songs or whatever that go along with a film or are featured in a film or are inspired by a film. For a while there in the late 70s and all the way through the 80s and even into the early 90s, soundtracks pretty much ruled the world, which was a great time. It was like getting a compilation record of a whole bunch of current pop and rock hits that were awesome. And many exclusive songs appeared on soundtracks, and a lot of debut singles happened on soundtracks. And so for many of us, the soundtrack aspect of things really holds a special place in our heart. And for whatever reason, myself, I've never been a big collector of the other side of that coin. Like most times when a soundtrack came out, you would get the original motion picture soundtrack, but then they would also release the score. And there's a million incredibly popular scores out there. I remember an early favorite of mine when I was a kid was when I came across the Danny Elfman score for the Batman 1989 movie, because I was well aware of Prince's soundtrack album to the movie, and when I saw the film, I loved all the orchestration in the film, but for some reason it didn't cross my mind that, oh, I bet they released that as an album as well. So I was never a big collector of any of scores on CD or cassette or anything when I was a kid. But since getting into vinyl, I'm just now kind of dipping my toe in the water of getting some of scores that I love. I haven't collected a lot of the iconic ones. Like I don't have any of the Star Wars LPs. I don't have any of the Back to the Future stuff yet. I'll get there. But the two that I want to show you today are ones that are very special to me for one reason or another, and the pressings themselves are really, really cool. And one of which is an example of that, where the soundtrack itself was extremely popular, and a lot of people, at least in my opinion, never really focus on the score of the actual film, which is something that I love as much or more than the pop music that was in the film. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the score for Young Guns 2, which, again, now this is almost like the Prince Batman 89 soundtrack, where John Bon Jovi did the score, or the original motion picture soundtrack for Young Guns 2. Had a very huge hit with Blaze of Glory, and there were some other great songs on there, but I think Blaze of Glory is really the biggest hit on there. Now, the film Young Guns 2 has wildly differing opinions. Some people love it, some people hate it. For one reason or another, I love it. I think it's just a great movie. There's a lot of very memorable spots in there. If you take it for what it is, I don't think it's even remotely supposed to be a historically accurate film. But for me, and especially at the age I was when the film came out, awesome film. And the score was just amazing. Like a really, really good companion to the film, and really enhanced every scene that the score was in. So for me, it was huge, and for years I never thought about actually obtaining the score. And then Rusted Waves Records in 2018 put out this 2 LP 45 RPM pressing of the record, and I really, really, really like what they did with it here. As far as packaging, as always, I'll throw up some pictures. One small disappointment is that it's not in a gatefold. It's just in a single 2 LPs at 45 RPM in a single LP cover, but there is a really cool one sheet, I guess you would call it, on the inside that covers a lot to do with the film and the score itself and so on. So I like that a whole heck of a lot. I really, really, really like the cover art that they did here, where it's like a cartoonish version of what each of the characters look like in the film. So for me, this is a really big one. Now, again, I realize this isn't Star Wars, this isn't The Shining, this isn't Back to the Future. But for me, I love the score, and I think this is a really, really cool pressing of it. The next one up is a pressing that I really like, and how it was done is excellent. The packaging itself is great. The score itself is wonderful. The film is one of my, probably my favorite comedy of all time, maybe. And Mondo Records put this out in 2016. Now, I know a lot of people watching this video probably have a good collection of Mondo soundtracks. I know they do great work, but for me, this is the only one that I've picked up so far. And it is the score from the film Clue, which I love. The film, I love the score. It's really one of those scores there where every little bit of music that I hear takes me instantly to the part of the film that it's from, and it reminds me how much I love it. And I've even laughed out loud listening to the score, thinking of something that happened in the film. As far as packaging, you can't touch this. This thing is just beautiful. Wonderful new picture created that's on a gatefold with the whole house on the outside. And of course, Wadsworth waiting to greet the guests right here. Just fantastic looking package. On the inside, the every room in the house with all of our characters, including Yvette and the cook. I mean, it's just, if you love the film, then these little nuances are just really well done. As far as the actual pressing goes, the only real difference between this and the Rusted Waves Records pressing of the Young Guns 2 soundtrack is this is on 1 LP at 33 RPM, which is just fine. It sounds fantastic. But the actual LP itself I got on Peacock Blue, but when they did it, they did a limited run of colors of vinyl based on the characters in the film. So there was a mustard colored one, there was a plum colored one, and to be honest, I picked this up right when it came out. I think I might have even pre-ordered it. I don't remember having loyalty one way or the other. I think I just put whatever color in the cart was available at the time. I don't dislike Mrs. Peacock at all. If anything, I probably would have opted for Mr. Green. He's my favorite character for several reasons. I won't spoil why. But in addition to the actual packaging, one thing that I think is really cool that it comes with is, this is on very thick paper, is a kind of a little rundown sheet, I guess you would call it. Almost looks like a call sheet from a film, where on one side it has every single person who played in the orchestra that's on the score, and then on the other side runs down every single track on it and where the scene that it goes with in the film. It's just a really nice piece, and again, not the biggest thing in the world, but it's on really thick paper, which I like a great deal. So again, I need to step up my score game. I do have other original motion picture soundtracks that have elements of some of the score and some of the pop hits and whatnot, but I do need to get some more scores. Having said that, if I was only going to own two, I'm really happy with owning these two, Young Guns 2 and the Clue score. So that's a little bit about what I have. I always say in these videos, please make sure to comment, but let me know, like, maybe outside of the obvious, again, Star Wars, Back to the Future, so on, what are some that I should be looking into? Like, what are some scores that I should be seeking out? And has anybody heard these? Do you own these? Have you taken a listen? Or because of this video, maybe try and stream them and see what you think. Either way, I appreciate you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a comment.